Troy Francis. Troy Francis, as you guys know, has a lot to say in regards to the trad cons. And recently I've replied to a couple of his tweets. And he replied back. So the first tweet that I replied to, he says, "Is marriage really as great as the trad cons say?" And he was reacting to Matt Walsh. I replied to that tweet, and he didn't reply back to this tweet, but he did reply to the tweet after this. I said, well, without marriage, you don't have nuclear families. Without nuclear families, you don't have successful, productive nations. Look what's happened to the West since marriages have declined. The problem is morality. Men want to find wives in brothels instead of churches, and this is all fact. Since the 1970s, marriages have been steadily declining, and we've seen the kind of degeneracy that has produced, the decline of marriage has produced, and it has produced a lot of degeneracy, so much so that people are not getting married anymore. The hookup culture is stronger than ever. This is all tied in with morality. So moral values are lacking right now. And as a result, men are making the mistakes of trying to find a good woman in brothels, so to speak, trying to insinuate that women now have high body counts. And if you want a long-lasting relationship, you can't be dealing with a woman that has a very high body count. That doesn't work. I went back to Twitter and I tweeted this, and this one he did reply to. He said, "Imagine marrying a whore." This is what I said. "Imagine marrying a whore and then complaining after because she's behaved like a whore. The problem is morality. There's a reason why the divorce rate is low amongst religious groups and high among secular, liberal, non-religious groups." So yes, red pill is feminism for men. He replied to that tweet and he said divorce is not that low amongst religious groups and your concluding point makes no sense. So what I basically did is I showed him some statistics, and I showed him that yes, it is very low amongst religious groups, as you guys can see, even amongst the Protestants, where it says 51%. If you look at all the different denominations, Protestants, it's not taking into account all the different denominations. So it's basically saying all of it comes to 51% when you put them all together. But even within the Catholic religion, it's actually much lower than that when you take certain things into account. So it is very low. And then he basically said my concluding point didn't make sense. And my concluding point was that, just to remind you guys, red pill is feminism. Red pill is feminism for men. At the end of that tweet, that's what I said. So yes, red pill. So he didn't see how that made sense. And I actually tweeted about it. I said my concluding point makes perfect sense. Red pill does not make a distinction between modern values, which comes from feminism, and traditional values, which comes from religion. Red pill puts every woman under the same umbrella. This is why red pill is feminism for men. So basically what I was saying is just like, listen, it comes down to morality, and different people have different moral values. Religious people, because of their moral values, divorce rates are low. And secular liberal people, because of their moral values, divorces are high. Red pill doesn't take that into account. They don't take morality into account. And that is my issue with red pill. So what red pill tends to do is tell men not to get married. Because they're not taking that into account, it is feminism for men, because they've just arrived at the same conclusion that feminists have arrived, which is don't get married. This is what feminists has been fighting for a very long time. This is a fact. And he did reply to my 13 rules to becoming a red pill high value modern men. And just to go through these rules with you guys, because I'm actually quite proud of them. Fund the sex industry and then blame women for the first one, fund the sex industry and then blame women for it. Second rule, sleep around 50 women preferably. We all know who says that. Don't get married. That's everything. That's what the red pill talks about. 4, get a vasectomy in your 20s so that you can become a high value man. Rolo Tomasi. Be a bachelor in your 40s and 60s, or your life really. Who's that? That's Troy Francis. create resources to pass on to no one, because we know that if you're going to follow red pill, you're not going to have a legacy. You're not going to leave children behind. And so what did you create the resources for? What was it for? 8, watch red pill every night before bedtime. 9, sacrifice legacy for a hedonistic lifestyle, because that's what ends up happening. If you're not married, you're going to engage in promiscuity because you've got biological urges that you need to satisfy. What else? 10, avoid virgins and traditional women because feminism is going to corrupt them anyway. This is whenever red pill are confronted with, why don't men just pick better? This is the argument that they always come up with, which is false, because we know that just Christians alone are like 2.3 billion, not to mention all the other different religious groups. So become a debating coach guru. That's what happens to all of them. Pretend to be against feminism but push for feminist agendas, which is what they do, and they don't even realize that they're doing it, which is actually crazy. It feels like a psyop almost. He's a tradcon. That's their excuse. That's their excuse for like if they want to dismiss our argument, that's exactly the conclusion that they come to. He's just a tradcon, so that means that every point that I've just made doesn't make sense. So yeah, that was the 13th rules, and he replied to it and he said, number 1 is bollocks and number 12 is logically challenged, but the rest sounds pretty good. There you go. So well, yeah, he did engage. Salute to him for that. Guys, listen, I hope you like this reaction. I hope you learned something from it. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and follow us on social media, and support us, guys, because we are giving you the truth. And I'm just going to leave you guys with this. Who is funding the entire sex industry, from porn to OnlyFans? Let me answer you. Let me answer it for you. It's men. Stop being disingenuous, Troy. Men buy sex, women extract resources and attention. That's the dance. That's how it goes. As long as we are paying women, this degeneracy will continue, basically. So yeah. Guys, I'll leave you with that. Salute. See you next time.